ZVT on Inferno Pools, very interestingly, and it's going to be Petraeus from mYinsanity, the yellow Zerg player spawning here in the lower left-hand corner, as their starter, going up against the blue Terran in the upper right-hand corner from Millennium, representing Team Baguette here, MarineLord. Alright, so ZVT to start things off. Inferno Pools, very interesting map to get things started, and they are going to spawn cross positions, so this is going to be, well, I feel is actually probably the, it's actually probably the best spawns for Inferno Pools, because if you spawn horizontally, things are very, very weird, they're very off, and you're probably not going to see a very normal game, but in cross positions, you definitely can. In fact, in cross positions, it's a huge map, and it can really go either way, so we can see a lot of drop play, we can see really long games come out of this, so let's see what's going to, let's see what happens here, as we have this, SCV coming up to the top left to scout to get things started here for MarineLord back at home. He is just getting in, up his first Reaper, and his second Reaper on the way. So, just a Reaper opening here as Petraeus, he opened with a hatchery first, into his pool, into his gas as well, and all is looking good and standard for him so far as well. So nothing too crazy just yet, as this Reaper is going to scout to the bottom right. We'll not see his opponent here either, and we'll realise that this is cross spawns. And again, there's a second Reaper on the way, so we'll see how many Reapers he wants to make. He doesn't have a third one queued up just yet, and I think it'd be pretty standard for him to just throw down the factory and the reactor next here. As okay, he is actually going to queue up a third Reaper, so he really wants to put on the aggression here early on with these Reapers, and I guess it's a pretty nice map to do so. You can come in from the natural, you can escape at the back of the main base as well, so you shouldn't have too much of an issue keeping these Reapers alive early on, and you should be able to get quite a bit of damage done with them. The speed is on the way, so this is immediately nice for Petraeus in terms of being able to break out towards his third base, as first circling is getting low. But good control so far by him, but finally loses one. MarineLord will try and poke in here, do a little bit more, but not too much really being done as this first Reaper turned away now. Second Reaper joins up though, and again with 3 Reapers you will always be able to try and get a little bit of damage done. You should be able to try and harass this queen, just try and get a little bit lower in terms of hit points, and already going down to half hit points here is pretty huge by MarineLord, and continuing to fall. That queen's actually already in a little bit of trouble, so MarineLord, some great control here, and a third Reaper across the map. This queen is almost definitely going to die in the very near future. Speedlings are, again, they're not speedlings just yet, they're just Zerglings, but very shortly here there'll be speedlings, but there's not that many of them. And Petraeus is about to find out that this is a 3 Reaper build, and there's that next queen, which will help, but again, he needs to be careful, because he can't afford to get this queen too low as well, because then there really is nothing to buffer here. Another Zergling going to go down. I think he starts to, well, he does realise, of course, now it's 3 Reapers, so he realises he needs a couple more Zerglings. So he starts adding a few more of these, as these 2 queens are so low. These Reapers backing off for now, and they're going to be a little bit careful here, as Hellions will be on the way very shortly. And once those Hellions join up, the Reapers and Hellions will be able to come in together, and maybe try and finish off a couple of these queens, which he's worked down so far. Petraeus has continued to mine gas past this first 100, so he's actually, well, he's only just gone back into it very recently, but we'll see what he wants to do with this. Looks as though he just wants to drop the third base nice and quickly though, so no 2-base lair play or anything like that, just a pretty standard third base with the link speed out to help him defend. These Reapers sitting on this low ground right now, as the barracks is going to come across and make a tech lab for itself. It's already made one for the starport here, and well, Petraeus actually he sees that barracks building a tech lab now, and he sees it flying into position, and I feel as though that's probably more or less enough for him to identify that there's probably a starport being built, and that there's probably going to be a tech lab for it. Why? Well, you've got to think, I mean, usually the barracks will be landed and already have a tech lab on it in research and stim if you're not going to try and go for a if you're not going to go for a starport, basically. So I think seeing that still flying around, only just making the tech lab now, if Petraeus knows his timings, which he should, then I think he's got a pretty good idea about what's coming in his way. He starts up a roach roar in here, and we'll see how aggressive he maybe wants to be with this. May very well just utilise this third base as a bit of a macro hatchery, or something to fall back on off of this aggression as the roaches start up here. Armory on the way though, and I mean roach ling attacks aren't really going to do that great against Hellbat Banshee, as this third base starting to take some damage. These queens need to get over there. I mean, this third base is a little bit further away than usual, and it does take a couple of extra creep tumors to get that creep over there so the queens can access it easily, and already down to half hit points here. And it's getting to that point where Petraeus really does need to come in and defend this. Now he does have them roaches popped out, and they will be spotted here by these Hellions, by these Reapers. So that third base becomes a little bit more vulnerable for the rest of the game now, and could maybe be sniped off by a drop or so, as Cloak is about to finish up on these Banshees. Second Banshee on the way, And the first one's actually coming across the map right now, so this is going to be interesting. I mean, with so much early damage done to the queens, has he actually healed up his queens? Okay, I think he's transfused up his queens, or they've just healed up in general, as they're all looking pretty healthy now. So yeah, the early damage negated as well. MarineLord runs into a bit of a tough spot there, has to back off. Not an ideal way to start. As this Banshee is now over at this third base. The Smoker are not really in the best of positions, actually. It won't be able to help this Banshee if it decides to just attack here. I guess a queen should be nearby. A couple of queens, actually, should be enough to help out, though. As that creep tumor just surviving here. Third queen coming across over towards this third base. And still, for now, just a few Hellions, a couple of Reapers here. Sitting back. Do we see a third command center? Yeah, yes we do, and that's moving in towards the third base right now. So while he contains the controls the map with these Banshees, with these Hellions, and still the Reapers from early on, he's going to at the same time look to just establish his third base, and he's starting to build up into his mid game units now, into his mid game composition now as well. The bio coming in, Stim is about to finish, so everything going well for MarineLord back at home in terms of his macro, in terms of his game plan, and everything going quite well for Petraeus as well. I mean, he hasn't really lost anything significant. He's kept this base alive. He hasn't lost a kind of huge number of drones or anything like that. He's actually done a really good job of deflecting this aggression so far. His two Banshees now are going to loop around in towards the main base to try and see what they can do in here. And there should be a couple of drones. In fact, look at that. Petraeus already responded and pulling his drones away from this top side, where there's a little bit of vulnerability where the Spore Crawler doesn't quite reach. This Queen is a little bit too far forward, and it does just not go down. And kind of Queen taking so much damage, but not quite enough to fall. So just staying alive for now. As a few drones are starting to go down, 4 workers killed, and this Queen has to be very careful. He could probably dive in behind the Spore Crawler, pick off the Queen, and come out if he wants to. But doesn't want to take the risk, it seems, as he maybe could have gotten a couple more drones here as he'll come back towards the third base now and see if there's another sweet spot or so. And he can just catch one more worker here to bring him up to 5 worker kills in total in the last few moments. There's 2 Banshees against the Queen once again, and this Queen's not going to be successful. But taking these Banshees low on hit points means that they're going to probably have to head home and get repaired up before they come in and do any more damage here. 68 drones, 70 drones to 64 SCVs, so pretty good economies from both players. 1-1 upgrades are finishing on both sides, and if we've got an armory down, of course we do. So 2-2 will be coming in straight away for our Terrans, so upgrades are going to be pretty even. Roach speed on the way as well as Baneling speed, so this is going to be a continued commitment to Roaches here for some time from Petraeus. So really looking for kind of a low-tech, swarmy kind of style, with just a lot of Roachling Bane, instead of kind of teching up to those Mutalisks and just trying to, have that kind of, well, I guess, I mean, it's always kind of a swarmy style from Zerg players, right, even with Mutiling Bane, but more so than ever with this kind of low-tier tech tree that he's using, he's really going to be looking to just try kind of just really overwhelm in terms of numbers, and this kind of attack is really nice for Petraeus, I think, because, MarineLord doesn't really want to be fighting into all of these units, I don't think, and he is, so it's kind of really nice for Petraeus. He's taking his time about cleaning up. There's been some good control so far by MarineLord, putting just the Marauders, the Reapers, the Hellbat in the front to tank the Baneling hits. As now he's going to back off here, and he can just pick up into the Medivacs, get out of there. A couple of mine hits do go off as these Banshees are starting to go down. One of them falls, one of them still remaining though. But good defense from Petraeus once again. I mean, both players not really finding a way to do too much, but units are coming across the map here, so MarineLord really going to be reinforcing this, really looking to keep this going. Banshee cloaks for about a second before it uncloaks. It doesn't really matter, there was an Overseer nearby anyways, as these Zerglings are being baited in towards them Widowmines. The Widowmines will get cleaned up, though we still have this drop heading towards the main base, and this is maybe going to be the main problem here for Petraeus, because he's focusing so much at the front right now, and if MarineLord controls this drop well, it's going to be so annoying, because Mutas aren't out yet. 5 Mutas on the way though, so I guess it's not going to be that bad. Already a little bit of damage being done. 4 workers killed. Spore Crawler will go down as well, allowing these Medivacs to move a little bit further forward, as Scan comes down, and Creep will begin to be cleaned up at the front as well, so this is really nice so far. These Medivacs are going to get out as the Petraeus looking as though he might want to start trading here. And MarineLord is going to find out about this 4th base at the gold. As he does pick up, he is going to evacuate more units rallying over towards the watchtower. Overall supply is pretty even. MarineLord maybe wants to take a couple of moments here before he decides to engage once again, because 2-2 upgrades have finished here for Petraeus, so he doesn't really want to be fighting with an upgrade deficit, especially when his own upgrades are only 30 seconds out from completion. But look at this, it looks as though it may be Petraeus forcing the issue, but 2 mine hits go off, and they pick off a couple of those Mutas and weaken up another one. And that isn't kind of the best way to get things started here at all. As we have a spine coil coming in at this gold base. So, I mean, again, this fourth base is pretty nice for Petraeus right now, but MarineLord, now he knows about it, he's going to start focusing his attention down here. Bigling run by, going to head up towards this third, but there's a huge wall of no real units over here, though, so I guess that is something. So he's probably still going to get something done. Some units will start dropping off on the low ground, and Lings will cover a lot of these reinforcements. A couple of mines will burrow, and will they grab any of those Zerglings? Not a single one. As the Marines... sorry, the depot doesn't get lifted here. A couple more mines will have to burrow on this ramp, but this is some good damage going to be done by Petraeus, and it also just more than anything distracts MarineLord, makes them fall back for a little while, as mine will hit off on these mulisks again, but they do pick off 2 medevacs. Looks as though these Zerglings get cleaned up, and really not too much worker damage done. In fact, Petraeus doesn't kill a single worker with this run by. I have no idea how. So now he's essentially thrown away what was an absolute ton of Zerglings, really. And he hasn't really gained anything for it. He bought a tiny amount of time. He forced MarineLord back for a few moments here. But that's about it. And another Raven for Zerglings trying to head across the map. There's only about 12 of them, 16 left now. And they're going to get intercepted here as well. So MarineLord is just shutting off all of this harassment from his opponent, and he's just going to keep on moving forwards here. These Mutalisks getting taking a few shots there. A couple of them fall once again, and MarineLord will again get up to this high ground, and from here he can deny the mine on the gold base, which is essentially denying the fourth of his opponent. And Petraeus continues to be in a little bit of trouble. MarineLord with a huge bank now, and he also has a 30 supply lead. He starts his +3 upgrades, drilling claws on the way, as well as +1 weapons for his mech. So he can add a couple of 4s in, and that will help him out, as he's going to load up a medevac and drop that down to start picking off the fourth base. A couple of mutas do turn around at the right time, but Petraeus just doesn't really seem to have any traction in this game at all, and he seems to be in a lot of trouble here. This army continuing to move forwards here from MarineLord, and Petraeus with a few units. The Roaches actually heading around the top side of the map. They might be able to deny this gold base for a couple of moments, but that is going to be about it. And his own gold base has now fallen, going to try and take the fourth to the 9 o'clock instead. MarineLord just keeps this drop over here for now, realizing he can use that a little bit later. A couple of mines go off and will soften up these Roaches, as the rest of the army coming back will be able to clean up the rest of this without much of an issue. So MarineLord's going to get up to this fourth base without much of an, with no problem at all, really. Petraeus for a moment looked as though he might focus some efforts towards this third base, which could have been a nice idea. I mean, MarineLord is very much so on the other side of the map. But already a few units stem forward, and it seems as though MarineLord's well aware of the possibility of this left-hand side base being taken, although he pulls his units back now, so at least he has scouted, so he knows it's there. As Banelings are going to come crashing in towards this third, and there is a bunker up, but that's a lot of Banelings, and MarineLord not paying attention just yet. He's going to lose maybe his entire mineral line. Yeah, he finally starts to pull his workers away, and these Banelings will just roll in towards the bunker to finish things off. 7 workers killed, not too bad here, as the Lings will come in to defend this fourth base for now, so Petraeus being able to keep this alive, as the Mutalisks finding an opportunity to come across the map here, so there's a lot of damage suddenly being done. These Mutalisks have picked off 10 extra workers, and they will head into the main base now. There's absolutely no real anti-air here. There's a turret, but there's not really enough SCVs to repair it. Petraeus is going to run out of there anyway. Some units are being sent down towards this right-hand side to maybe intercept these Mutalisks, as they are now going to come into the third. 45 SCVs remaining here for our Terran player, as these Metafucks, that's not where they really want to be. There's some Banelings actually crashing into the gold base as well now, taking the MarineLord down to 32 workers. He still holds a 40 supply advantage here, but Petraeus, he's found a way to get into Hive, and he's got 3-3 of his own on the way. He's got an Ultralast Cavern down, and if he could buy some more time with these Mutalisks, he's going to be in a great position to just continue on here. MarineLord really just needs to gather his forces and just push across the map. I mean, he's being way too distracted by these Mutalisks right now, as the Mutas are going to fly over a few Marines, and that's another couple of Mutalisks getting very low on those hit points. One picked off, but only a couple more again getting very low. There's a big swell of Zerglings to the right hand side, and MarineLord again distracted. Okay, he is going to move over to the left. He's not going to allow himself to just kind of continually have to fall back. He's splitting his army in two, is he? No, he's not. He's kind of, I don't know where he's going. He's going left, right, and left again. And now he's coming to the right with everything, and I mean, if he just split up his army a little bit, you know, this army that was here was more than enough to deal with the Zerglings that were out. And he could have probably moved over here and taken down this fourth base without much of an issue, so this is pretty interesting point, as some Zerglings do run by. Plenty of bio units left over here, and again, this is all he really needs to deflect this. There's a lot more command centers actually are up and ready to run, as these Ultras are in the army composition now. 3 Ultras in total, 2 more being made. But can he attack into this, and can he save his fourth base, because these units are stimming forwards, and the incoming spine crawlers are going down before they have a chance to complete. And a few units starting to move forwards a little bit. MarineLord will split. There's a few Zerglings still in the main, but not doing all too much over here. Only 33 SCVs for MarineLord, so he has a huge army supply advantage. And because he's attacking before Petraeus has a chance to build up a bank, this is great. But he really does need to trade efficiently because I mean, this really is kind of, you know, do or die, because he really doesn't have the money to reproduce after this. He's got a gold base, I suppose, which is nice. And he does have a lot of mules, remember, because he has got all of these orbitals, or what should be orbitals, very soon. He's doing an okay job so far. These initial Baneland hits aren't really connecting on anything, but more ultras have been coming in. And here we go. Let's see what these mines are going to hit on us. Not too much, but then again, the Banelands aren't really getting anything done either. And immediately Petraeus falling back here, but an immediate swell of new units. More ultras, more Banelands, and more Zerglings are on the way. Going to clean out this watchtower. And reinforcements coming across the map here for MarineLord as this gold base has been re-established for Petraeus. And, well, again, MarineLord, I thought he was in a fantastic position in this game. I just feel as though the Petraeus created some great opportunities to distract and to push him back and bought himself a lot of time. But look at this fourth base, or this left-hand side base, might be about to go down. No, the Banelands will turn around and greet this, and MarineLord will stem. He's going to retreat a little bit. The mine doesn't really hit too much here and does get cleaned up. Infestor's being added on now, as well as a few Marines are going to head towards this gold. So they're going to try and get some damage done down here. But again, only 33 SCVs, these extra orbitals, not being used just yet. He's building another command center, which is kind of crazy when you consider the fact that he just doesn't need it. 8 workers were killed by that group of Marines before being cleaned up, and a 4 in the middle of the map. That's not where he wants to be. And that is a bit of a loss there for MarineLord here, as he still holds a 20 supply advantage, but his opponent has 3-3, his opponent has ultras, his opponent is about to have infestors. And that's kind of the dream composition here for Petraeus in this TVZ. So, MarineLord begins to move out through the middle of the map once again. We have an Overlord heading towards... heading over here. We've got a base about to be established for MarineLord. Again, I don't feel a few more SCVs would actually go amiss for him. He's actually quite gas-starved. Gonna lift up another command. He's finally got these orbitals morphed in, so he's finally gonna get the mules from those, as he still does hold an army supply advantage here as he advances forwards. He needs to be so careful of the infestors though, but he scans and he sees them, and that's great. So he can start a pre-split here and knows he has to just be very, very careful about any kind of engagement he wants to try and take. Drop over towards this gold base once again. 5 workers killed, and it looks as though the stack defense is going to get denied here as well. Mules come in, but 2 mules go down to clean up this drop, and that's been a very worthwhile drop. 3 mules go down to clean up this drop, so a very worthwhile drop here in the long run. As a couple of Zerglings do break their way through a couple of depots, but not too much really going on, as it looks as though we might have a bit of a commitment here. As that hatchery actually gets sniped down. Okay, wow, I didn't realize MarineLord was quite able to manage that. So he's doing a lot. He's doing a good amount of damage here. You know, he really is denying these bases from Petraeus. We have a base coming down to the bottom right, as this base being denied by an Overlord. So that's something he needs to kind of pay some attention to, as these mutants just took a big hit from some mines. MarineLord is still pushing in towards this, and he's going to take down a few more drones. Okay, the drones are going to get away. He needs to take a moment just to go clean up these Overlords so he can get his extra bases landed. Otherwise, again, he will kind of, you know, he just needs to keep his bases going, right? You know, he just needs to keep his bases going strong. We have a Great Aspire on the way here, as well as some Corruptors. How many Corruptors out in total right now? Only 2, so 4 in total. There's not going to be that many Broodlords, as MarineLord now going to move down this right-hand side of the map. And, I mean, the thing is, he needs to know about the Broodlords, though. But, you know, because this isn't going to be kind of 10 Broodlords immediately, he's going to have an opportunity to probably buy some time and get set up into this. Big stim there, actually, and maybe a little bit delayed because it was already when his opponent was starting to back off. But look at this, we're going to have an engagement. Fungal growths aren't really landed on anything just yet. These initial ultras aren't doing anything at all, and these ultras, they're on a pathing. They're having a nightmare in terms of the pathing. And they don't go really the right way. 2 Broodlords now being added on. MarineLord doesn't know about these extra bases here and here. If he knew about those probably could be a pretty easy way, a pretty easy pick-off, as we do have some Marines going to try and come down towards this left side. But again, I mean, there's a couple of spine cores here, so the stag defense is generally doing a pretty good job for our Zerg players. Whoa, nice fungal growth there to keep a couple of these ultras alive. As MarineLord going to get into a pretty strong position using the higher ground as well here. Now, you will see the Broodlords for the first time, but there isn't that many of them, and that is the kind of big factor here. So he's going to see these Broodlords, and you can probably just stim forward with Marines here and pick those off, and that's exactly what he's going to do. So these first 2 Broodlords not going to achieve anything at all, as we've got a 4 kind of fighting against the Mutalisks as well. MarineLord's still kind of struggling here for money, but at the same time he can just drop a bunch of mules. He's more gas-starved than anything, as he's starting to add on some Vikings, which is definitely necessary. His gold base about to mine out. He has established this base to the right-hand side. No turrets, though, and the lack of anti-air again could be a big factor, as he needs to split and get away from any further fungals, but it looks as though he's more or less okay. He's taking down a lot of these Ultralisks here to begin with, As Petraeus is the player of the bank, so he can remax a little bit more easily, but these ultras are all falling. MarineLord losing a lot of his army as well, though, and how much is going to be left over here? It looks as though MarineLord is just about going to have enough to push on through a couple of Broodlords. Can he get rid of them? And it looks as though he's getting rid of one. He's going to be able to get rid of this Corruptor and the next Broodlord as well. These Infestors are kind of all left alone, and the mine's actually going to go for the Infestors now. They're going to kind of burrow up here, and what are they going to go off on? Oh, the Broodling, not the best of things to kind of hit. As he's going to come down, he's going to be able to deny this bottom right-hand base. Army supply is still in favour of our Terran player, as the economy, of course, still in favour of Petraeus, but not for long, because, well, mules are landing. So actually, that's a huge amount of income right now for MarineLord, and he's just got so many orbitals, and that's something we, you've got to take into account. He's invested in all of them command centers much earlier on in this game, and because of it, he's able to get quite a lot done. This hatchery goes down, and well, MarineLord cleans up absolutely everything here, it seems, as we have a bunch of Marines and Marauders actually heading along the left-hand side, and they want to try and come in and hit this base. So, what great game number 1 we're seeing between these two teams, Baguette and mYinsanity, in week 2 of the SC2ITL. MarineLord could probably do with a couple of extra medevacs right now. He's actually really hurting on his army, and, a couple of fungals against this already weakened army could work wonders. Another stim there. There's a lot of Infestors out. This army to the left will be able to clean out this base, though. So again, Petraeus being denied his economy. He's mined out on the 3rd. His gold's pretty much gone, so he's pretty much out of money. Whereas our base is still up for MarineLord. So MarineLord's just consistently denying these bases, and that's been kind of a significant part of this game. Kill off all these drones, and I mean, then Petraeus really has to kind of invest in some more drones and hatcheries, and he doesn't really have money to do either right now, as he has, what, about 600, 700 minerals left on this gold, and again, that's his last man in base. He's going to have to spend those 600, 700 minerals on just building a new hatchery, so no further army really going to be coming out here for Petraeus. More command centers coming down from MarineLord. As he moves forward, he's going to pick off another queen. He's got a bit more of a healthier army this time. First fungal growth doesn't really land on anything. These ultras are going down very, very quickly. Nice second fungal growth, though. And these fungal growths are very, very important. These ultras are doing a pretty good job once them fungal growths come in. But again, there's just a few too many marauders, it seems. Really, really close in terms of overall supply. But with reinforcements, I think there's just going to be a bit too much for MarineLord. He's controlling this very well, and he's also been very careful just to always fight kind of off of the actual creep, so they can split a little bit better and just deny a little bit of the mobility of his opponent. Scan comes down, reveals there's no base being re-established to the left, and now he just needs to check for these bases to the bottom right again. And no, he doesn't, because Petraeus is actually going to GG, because he's just out of economy. Yes, they've he's still kind of there in supply, but he just can't fight against the economy.